According to the Conservative Heritage Foundation, and you can look this up online, from 2003 to 2023, 20 years, do you know how many non-American citizens they caught voting in 20 years? 24.
I could do a Google search and come up with more than 24. I could do a Google search in less than 5 minutes and come up with more than 24. Who the hell is going to believe the crap you just came out of your mouth? Only 24 people in 20 years have ever been, arrested for election fraud. Huh? Every single one of you like, what? What is this guy doing? No wonder they don't want to do a filibuster. Yeah, he'd be calling his mama after like a couple hours.
24 people not voting or ineligible for voting in 20-year period of time.
My gosh. You understand right now that our congressmen and our senators can walk up there and literally say anything. Nobody's checking them. Definitely not CNN. They'll fact check the hell out of anything President Trump says. What about what Dickie just said? We haven't had anybody arrested in 24 years. And every single person watching this show is like, oh my God, you got it.
20 years, 24 cases. The Save America Act would upend the past 2 decades of successfully secure elections with untested, dangerous limitations.
Wait. The last 2 years. No wonder there's nobody in the chairs. They'd be laughing. This is a comedy routine. These people have lost it. They know what's coming. I think I'm just figuring out what's coming. I wanted to bring it to you guys tonight. And I know earlier in the show, you're like, Barry, no, there's no, and now you're like, hey, maybe that is what he has to do.
On voter registration. Here's how it goes. You want to buy an airline ticket and they ask you for identification? You pull out your driver's license if you have one. Simple. So why shouldn't we ask the same of voters? Well, there are a couple elements you should know. The Save America Act does not allow you to use your driver's license as identification. It doesn't allow you, even if you have a real ID, which you're supposed to have in your driver's license. So the most common form of identification for Americans is ineligible under this new law.
Democrats are stupid and Republicans are weak. That's what we have right now. Because this should be a no-brainer. They should just walk in now while he's talking. Never mind, we're going to take the 50 votes. We're going to break the filibuster. You guys, you're nuts.
You have to prove where you were born. They will accept a couple things, 3 things they've accepted. One is a passport. Do you have one? Half of Americans don't have a passport. They don't own one. I do. But half of Americans don't. What would it cost for you to make sure you have a passport by the next election in November? $165 fee. That's one of the ways that you can prove you're actually American. But it's not the only one. There's another one. Your birth certificate. Seen it lately?
Seen your birth certificate lately? You mean like last week when I went to Washington? I am old. And I know exactly where my birth certificate is. What are you talking about? You seen it lately? Well, maybe some people haven't looked, but they could pretty much find their birth certificate. I'm pretty sure every single one of you could find your birth certificate.
Do you have it in your home?
Yep.
Do you know where to find it?
Yep.
And if you have a birth certificate which says your maiden name is a woman and doesn't say your married name, it doesn't work. It's ineligible.
We've been married 32 years. And we have flown across the pond and everywhere else. And she's had no problem. Like, here's my stuff. Here's my birth certificate. Here's my passport. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
So this notion of proving you're an American citizen turns out to be a lot more complicated when you actually read the proposal which the president is insisting on. Suddenly providing your driver's license, even if real ID compliant, will no longer be enough to register to vote. nor would military IDs be sufficient for service members. Men and women serving actively in the military, sworn to uphold the Constitution, when they go to vote, shows their military ID, and they're told by the election official, wherever it is, sorry, that doesn't qualify. We need a passport or we need a birth certificate.
You know, I don't know where you live, I'm here in South Florida, and when you have to go into renew your license, it always says 2 forms of ID. One from column A and one from column B. However you want to mix it up, column A or column B. You're going to need both those. The same thing we all do every single, which is why the real ID works, because we've already checked all the documentation. Lie and lie, lie.
Under this legislation, election officials would accept a limited number of documents.
Was I muted? No, I'm not muted. Somebody goes, you're muted. Why do you guys say that stuff? I'm not muted.
And this could prevent millions of Americans from being eligible to vote in November. Why would the President of the United States be pushing so hard for a bill which will make it more difficult to vote? Because he's worried as hell about the outcomes of this election. He thinks he's going to lose. And he believes that more and more people who have limited access to the identification required by this, who don't own a passport, don't have a birth certificate.
Last time I checked, hold on, let me check again. It's March 10th. This is where the Democrats always freak me out. The elections don't sneak up on us. They're every 2 or 4 years. It's March. What the amount of time you're talking, you could have made a video telling people where to go to get in the next 8 months. You got 8 months to get this done, okay? But I would get it done in the next 7. Don't wait till the last month. You got 7 months. And in these next 7 months, here's what you need to do. And you're telling me in the last 20 years or 24 years, for all these people you say that you know who have no ID, they keep getting surprised by elections. How can that be? We just had one. We're going to have another one, and then another one after that. And when they're always normally in November. So if it's March right now, why the hell can't you just doodle your ass over to the DMV or whatever, right? Send away for your birth certificate, whatever you got to do. 8 months. And they're already complaining. Oh, they're not going to be able to do that. They're stupid. Can they handle a remote? Yeah. They got cell phones. They take videos and do stuff. We've seen them. They're protesting. They can find a way to get protesting out there. They got to put their IDs out there, go shovel snow. But 8 months from now, I don't know what we're going to do.
Are going to be eligible to vote and help his chances of winning the election in November. It is that simple. Tens of millions of married women who took their spouse's last name are going to have to spend the time and the money to obtain an amended birth certificate if your state allows you to have one. Why are we making it so complicated? Excuse me. As I said earlier, the incidence of fraud over the last 20 years, 24 cases of fraud in the United States of non-Americans trying to vote. 24 times in 20 years, the millions and millions of votes has been cast.
You understand, when they do this crap, they're putting it into the record. They're reading this into the record so other people 20 years from now could read, oh yeah, did you know back in 2026 and the last 20 years between 2006 and 2026, there's only been 24 people who've been arrested for voter fraud. Wow.
Making America fill out more paperwork will not secure our elections. This bill only makes it harder for women, members of our military, and seniors to participate in the democratic process. The president says he won't allow us to send any bill to him to be signed into law until we pass this law, denying the right to vote to millions of Americans in November. That's what the whole issue is about.
Okay, so you've seen a Democrat. You've seen Democrat attorneys. And what's this guy? This guy is from the DNC. They're all suing. I'm going to leave you with this. They look like they're winning. Does that look like the people who we keep being told, oh, we're going to lose the midterms? Well, you would think that the people who were going to win would be a lot more confident, but they're not. They're terrified. They know what's coming. And so I'm just going to leave you. Let me see if I have it still. Yeah, I still have it. We're just going to go through this one more time about saving America and how do you save America? And that's why President Trump said, save America, right? So let's look at this window here. Here we go. How do you invoke the Insurrection Act and how do you do it? Remember this. Let me go back to the top. All right. The Insurrection Act of 1807 is a federal law that empowers the President of the United States to deploy the U.S. military. U.S. military. Military is the only way, huh? U.S. military, including active duty troops and federalized National Guard units, domestically for law enforcement purposes. It acts as a primary exception to the posse comitatus rule. And then there's three key aspects in the framework. At the request of a state governor, we're not going to get that from blue people. 2, without state request, that the president determines that, quote, unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages or rebellion against the authority of the U.S. make it impractical to enforce federal laws. And I want to just bring your attention to number 3, to protect constitutional rights in a state that is unable or unwilling to protect those rights. And I portend, I offer up evidence of that your voting rights, my voting rights, are in danger if there's a possibility of these people who aren't supposed to be here trying to vote. That's specifically what it says right there, to protect the constitutional right in a state that is unable or unwilling to protect those rights. Yes, President Trump, you need to protect our constitutional rights, our constitutional right to vote. And some people will say, no, you can vote, but that's not protecting my vote. You see, my vote should count towards the person I'm voting for, and it should be protected because it's my constitutional right. And that constitutional right means an enemy, foreign or domestic, can't interfere with it. So if some dude from, I don't know, Honduras decides he's going to get a fake ID or whatever, no ID, and walk in up to California and vote, that most assuredly isn't protecting my constitutional right. It's diluting my constitutional right. I feel at this point that the Democrats know it's coming. I almost think the Republicans know it's coming. It's almost like a safeguard for them. They know they can't get anything done. He's going to have to do it. So I say, let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off and get it done.